This is the Blue Collar Future Podcast. I'm your host, Jaden Robinson, and we have a special, soon to be reoccurring guest, co-host, whatever you want to call it, Jesse.
What's
How
up,
are
guy?
you?
Good. How are you, bud?
Oh, dude, doing great. As we were just talking before, life's been a little crazy lately, and just kind of getting around to something I've been had an idea about for a long time. So, yeah, glad we can get this going.
Yeah, dude. I'm glad you kept on it because,
Yeah.
I know you've been building your house and all that stuff, so you got a lot on your plate. But it's nice to. I know we talked about it, but it's nice to actually do it.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'll fill in everybody here a little bit. I've been wanting to have kind of a co-host for um, to replace my solo episodes because it's nice to have, another personality to bounce things off of. And um, talked to Jesse about it earlier this year, and we decided to go along with it. We're gonna have, I think, as of right now, Q&A episodes and topic episodes, usually probably about taking care of yourself and all of that in the trades, but it could, evolve to just about anything there. Um, Experiences on the job and, whatever else Jesse feels like he wants to talk about too, because I think that's the important thing here is we can have kind of you know, two viewpoints on some of this stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
And
Because clearly you only have one personality. So it's probably hard to talk to the wall.
you never know. Sometimes I feel like I got multiple people up in there. When I'm on the job and something pisses me off, I'm like, something comes out and I'm like, oh geez. But Jesse, let's yeah, it's been not quite a year since we recorded. When was that? Was that February?
I think so. Yeah, when we went down to your buddy's studio.
Yeah, yeah. Which I need to start recording there again, but it's far away from me, so I might.
Yeah, you're up on my
Anyway.
end.
Yeah, yeah. Anyways, yeah. What have you been up to since then? Jobs and anything that's been going on in your life since then.
Yeah, so we finished. We were on the ancillary building to the temple, finished that job. Then that was up in Montpelier, Idaho, up at Bear Lake. Finished the water treatment plant in Preston, the electric vehicle building, and the hospital addition here in Logan, which were all like kind of in progress during that time. Now I've been up on the Institute of Religion, which should be getting squared away here over the winter. Like we were talking about earlier, is all the exteriors done besides a punch list and things. And then they're moving to the interior, a job for Jacobson that's like an addition to the business building as well as some more student housing and those are all at USU. So kind of full plate, just kind of bounced around, but it's nice to be close to home. I'll be on campus for another year and a half at least. So that's
Yeah,
nice.
and I know we've had a conversation before about, kind of how our jobs differ, how you guys are on bigger, commercial jobs usually, and
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy that you're typically in one place for how long, Like how long were you at the Institute building for?
Since March. So March to December. So what is that? Almost 9 months.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like I'm in a different place every single day
Yeah.
and and even like most of the commercial jobs that we do, we're still, one day in and out most of the time, or like a few days, but we're never there, you know. Like we had a commercial building, but it was for a dealership, and it was I think three different pours, about 200 yards a piece, or maybe four of them. But yeah, we were
Mhm.
only there like it's like one day a piece, we're in
Yeah.
there one day and then out. Um, it's it's always interesting to see how different trades work,
Yeah.
especially like in this masonry space, how that it's like concrete's really like a couple days per
Mhm.
per part of their job, and like you guys are so much um, involved in the building that it's yeah, it takes a long time.
Yeah. I mean, like the Institute alone had I think on the exterior it has like 700 plus pieces of precast and then brick on top of that. So I think it was somewhere like, gosh, I can't even remember how many thousands of brick it was. But like those two jobs I described that we're going to, I know that there's 500,000 brick between the business building addition and the student housing, which is
Jeez.
one.
How how do you guys figure that? Do you figure that off of the plan and kind of estimate how many brick it'd be per, square foot or whatever?
Yeah, yeah. So you go like we're on modular brick right now, which are 8-inch brick. Um, in modular brick, there's 6.86 per square foot. So as long as you have your elevations in your linear feet, you can figure out the square footage and be close enough. And then you count, 10 or 15% for breakage, things like that.
Yeah. Crazy. You
Yeah.
mentioned precast. I know I saw you guys were setting some of those things. So you guys are also on the Institute building setting precast
Hmm.
concrete blocks in conjunction with some of your block or brick or whatever was there, or just you guys were setting them?
Yeah. So we had a crew. Technically, we had three. Like we're all one crew, but there was three like split off. So like part of them took the brick that was their responsibility, and so we had a lead with that. That was Casey, and then there's the all the column pieces that all those ones that I showed you that they all weigh like 6,000 pounds each. That are all the tall, skinny, vertical ones. Sakun had 4 or 5 guys with him, and then I had guys, and we were doing all the base pieces around the bottom, like the skirt around the bottom, and so yeah, we each just kind of took a piece of the responsibility and did that, and then that dumpster we did, but that was like a day, and then just core filled it and capped it.
Yeah, no, it's super cool. Since I met you and started looking into some more like block and brick mason,
And dabbling
jobs,
so
like looking at some of the stuff, it's super interesting, and I can see why people would enjoy doing it, but also I'm at the same time surprised that there aren't as many people getting into doing those. Do you have people on your social media reaching out trying to figure out how to get started into being a brick block and stonemason pretty much?
yeah, I'll have kids message me from, or like not just kids, people looking for advice, whatnot, and like that was the goal originally, was to like make things more aware of my trade because everyone, there's the saying that masonry is a dying trade because you have things like tilt up concrete and all that sort of stuff, but it's always going to have its place as far as we're concerned because there's always someone that's going to use it, whether it's a veneer like we've been doing or structural, because like sometimes like you don't get like up there at USU, you wouldn't have the footprint to be able to tilt up concrete. Like there's no opportunity for that because they just don't give you enough. They barely give us enough space to drive our telehandler around the building. So like stuff like that. But yeah, there's kids that message me. You know, we've hired at least seems like 10 to 12 of them from just uh interacting with me on social media, which has been cool like over the last 4 or 5 years.
What a good reason to use social media, Like I think that's an overlooked aspect of getting yourself out there is like being able to bring people to your company to get hired on, and it's a pretty easy way to find people too. Like
Yeah.
who really wants to hire people from LinkedIn or Indeed anymore, Because I think it's still a place, but like you can fib and lie about stuff on there pretty easy too. So
I would, bro, if you showed me someone applied to be a brick mason through LinkedIn, I would think that you found a unicorn. Like,
I know
I
because
would, I'd be so surprised.
I mean, what do you put on your resume to apply for? I mean, it just seems so weird to use that avenue because it seems like it's pretty easy to hire someone to train them because
Yeah.
as an apprentice it's yeah, can you show up on time,
Yeah.
and but like as an experienced guy, you'd want them to come and do something or be on the job or whatever. So you still want to see him and meet him in person anyways. And I mean, I don't know, I think there's a place for those job application platforms, but um,
Mm,
yeah, so social media really easily takes over in a lot of cases.
yeah. And that's like as far as like journeyman masons go, it's like you can, I mean, they can come in. We've had guys be like, oh, I have like 5 years of experience, and they get there and they don't. Like, it's pretty quick to figure out who's an actual journeyman mason and who isn't. And I'm sure the same with concrete, like, or any trade really. Um, but yeah, as far as like apprentices go, it's like you said, if they can show up, have a good attitude, want to learn, like that's pretty easy. And that's we have our core guys, our core journeymen that have been around since I was like a kid, and then bringing in all those young guys around us, like that's all from social media more or less, or like for jobs, and like that does happen. Or like you'll get a recommend from like someone on the crew of like, hey, so and so's having a hard time over here, like they're not keeping them busy and whatnot, and so they'll come over and stuff like that. But as far as yeah, like you said, the apprentices getting them and training them, like that's relatively easy. Like you got to show up and prove it, or you're out in under a month anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's how it's been for us, but it seems like we usually want to get people that are just starting.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know about for you guys, but it's kind of hard to hire people that have done concrete before because I with concrete it's so specific per what you're doing, like what aspect you're doing, but also everybody's got their own little things that they do, and a lot of
Mhm.
people have some pretty bad habits. I don't know if it's like that
Yeah, yeah,
for so like I mean a lot of people do things so differently that it's dang near impossible for somebody that has experience to like unlearn what they've learned somewhere else. And not to say that we are 100% right in the way we do things, but we at least it works for us, and
yeah,
we everybody needs to be on the same page. So it's kind of hard hiring people that have experience already.
yeah. And there's like the under lead or foreman or something, like trying to get that old dude to listen to you to be like, hey, this is how we're doing this. So, no, I've done it this way for 30 years, but like it's like that's great, but I'm the one that has to tear it apart. So
Yeah, we had a Hispanic guy working with us that had done a bunch of different things, and um yeah, he was only like 40, and I think he claimed that he had 20 years of concrete experience, but he also had done drywall for 3 years and done this and that, and he was in jail for a while. And I'm like, how do you have 20 years of experience doing concrete if you're been doing all these other things and in jail and stuff, and you're only 40? But anyways, um,
overtime.
yeah, right. And he just did not want to figure out the way we did stuff. And it was like you tell him, I think one of my younger brothers was like, hey, we don't do this or we don't do that. And he's like, I know more than you. I've been doing this as long as the boss. And I'm
Yeah,
like, what the no, you haven't? Yeah, I can tell.
yeah.
So
We got an old head like that. He's actually the dude that like I laid my first brick as a kid. He was the one that let me. So he's like with me, he's good. But if it's the other people try to tell him things to do, he's just like, you know, the little bits of Spanish that I know, or like the other guys that speak or bilingual, they'll just laugh because like someone will tell him something and he'll turn around and like in Spanish to the other guy say something and he just laughs. He's like, you could tell that he's just like, yeah, that's cool. Thanks for that. I'm gonna keep doing this.
yeah. Jeez. You guys have a bunch of employees. How many? You said you guys had 20, right?
I think 23 right now.
23.
Yeah.
Do you guys keep the employees all year and keep them busy and stuff too?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what one thing the old man has always been good about is like there's always working in front of excuse me. Sorry, the pup's under me barking at something. Um, but yeah, he's always been good about that. Like whether it's our own work or like if there's a lapse where like he's bid out jobs and then like something happens because inevitably something always happens and they're 2 months behind. Um, the connection is there to like we'll go up. That's why, like for instance, why I worked in Rexburg and Rigby and places like that is because we'll go help IMS or the masonry crews up there and where he has a relationship and they'll pay him his cut and then pay us our hourly and per diem and whatnot. So it's like I think in my freaking 12-year full-time career, I've had a month off. And
Yeah.
that was more or less because I chose to have it off. Stop.
Yeah. Haha. Me.
I have no idea what he's on about.
Um, well, I mean, that's always the hardest part about being in this business is keeping employees busy and going. And the contractors that don't care about that and just lay their guys off, I mean, you can tell they're pretty well only care about themselves and aren't really trying to have a business and have employees because it's hard. But I mean that's how you keep guys around. I've never understood how people can lay guys off over the winter here or something, and then those guys will come back and work again. It's
That's
crazy to me.
that's yeah, you because you think like as like the guy in the field that if someone laid you out and was like can't keep work ahead of you, you'd be like, okay, like I'm out. Like have fun with whatever you got going on, you know?
Yeah, and then go find somewhere else that's going to keep you busy. And I mean, for concrete, it sort of makes sense because it's really hard to do much flat work in the winter here.
Yeah.
But a lot of winters are pretty mild where we only have or where we don't have that many days that prevent us from pouring. So
Yeah.
but people still do it. It's like every year the guys will come. That's actually how I think we got some of those Hispanic guys. I think we picked them up kind of in the fall and they got laid off from their other job. And then sure enough, come springtime, they like both pretty much quit and one of them quit because he was like he claimed that I was yelling at him and I'm pretty sure he fabricated it because it was time to go back and work for the other freaking
Yeah.
company or he was working for or whatever, which is crazy. It's like they freaking laid you off
Yeah.
and you're gonna go back and work for them. But that's something we've always struggled with is like especially with Hispanic people because the culture difference is huge and the communication is really different. So they're very particular about like how the communication is there. And
Yeah.
I see a lot where a lot of them feel like you're getting mad and yelling when it's not even what's going on at all, and then they'll just like quit. They'll just freaking disappear. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, they
Yeah.
know too. Like it's I mean, we're in an era where like if you're good at what you do, you can go anywhere. So like a lot of them know that too. They're like, hey, they're gonna bust their ass wherever they're at. So they're like,
Yeah.
whatever it is. It's yeah. And yeah, I think that's I've been trying to get better at my Spanish to help alleviate that because you are like the barrier, like no matter how your intentions are, like some things just don't always cross, like whether it's through a translator or through like whatever it is, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Well, notwithstanding the language difference, like just in the fact that they like if they speak English, that doesn't mean they necessarily understand the English.
Yeah.
And so like and like your tone of voice and stuff. So like that gets lost in translation too. Like the one guy in particular, I like we were getting done on a job and um I just yelled across the job site to him saying
Mm-hmm.
that he can go ahead and head off to the next job. And he
Mm-hmm.
thought I was telling him to leave. because
Yeah.
and I was like and he didn't make do anything about it and he just was like he told everybody that I told him he couldn't go to the bathroom and that he had to leave. And I was
Yeah.
like, "What?" I literally said you could go to the next job. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
hey, hey, you can go to the next job. You can head out because we were gonna have him form up a set of stairs and do some things there. So I was
Uh-huh.
like, hey, you can head up there now. He took that as get the F off my job. You can't
Yeah,
go to the
like
back.
take
You need to leave. Like I was like, you gotta be kidding me, because that's what he told his buddy. His buddy was working for us, and that's what he told him. And we
yeah.
were like, I was like, are you kidding me? Did you guys think I said that? But yeah, it's crazy. I've been doing, like, especially since then, I've been really on my learning Spanish, because just to try to help bridge that gap, because there's so many Hispanic workers, and
Hmm.
they just have a communication difference that's, yeah, it makes it pretty rough to work with people like that. So
Yeah. And it's like no fault of anyone's. It's just that communicate, like you said, just gets lost in translation. So it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
if if I got the time, if you or I have the time to like go learn Spanish and help alleviate that, because there's in both of our industries, there's so many like they're good hard ass workers, but it's like you can't if you can't communicate with them, then
yeah,
how do you like provide the right experience for them or like whatever it may be.
yeah, and I have nothing against them. I mean, a lot of them are super hard workers. It's just it's yeah, it's hard to communicate with them, and you know, a lot of them take things super personally because I
Hmm.
feel like they don't quite understand what you're trying to say.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I don't know. Anyways, long tangent there. Speaking of that, I haven't been on my Spanish game either, dude. I've been like barely enough to get by for the last 6 months. Yeah.
I try with we have two guys that like their primary language is Spanish. So like I try my best and like they both know that, so they try to like help me, Or, like that I'm trying like they know that I'm trying and like they just kind of giggle and they're like, "Oh, hey, But that's as far as like I thought about taking night classes and then I was like I don't really want to go back to school for any reason. And then like Duolingo and stuff just seems like it's a kind of gamified to a point.
Yeah. Yeah, the people ask me that all the time because I do Duolingo, and it helps you with grammar and learning verbs and that type of stuff, and it helps you understand the language, but it doesn't
Mhm.
really help you speak the language. And if you don't make a real um make it really intentioned in the way that you do it, yeah,
Mhm.
it's just gamified. I mean, and you could be on there every day doing basically nothing and just
Yeah.
like playing a game pretty much. So
Yeah,
eh,
because it's like you see people that are like, I did my whatever days streak on Duolingo. I was like, that and that's when it's in my brain. I'm like, okay, it's a game that like,
yeah. Well, yeah, especially for me. I mean, because I've been busy lately, I've been keeping my streak up, but doing basically nothing. Like I'll get on there and play a match game. Like I'll match words in English and Spanish, and
yeah,
that's it for the day. And I'm like, I mean, I guess that sort of helps cement the words in your head, but it doesn't help you speak. And like I wish I
yeah,
had guys around me that I could talk to every day, because I think that's the bigger thing. Like if you want to learn Spanish, you got to get around people that speak it, and then
100%. Yeah,
speak it like a lot. And that's you probably don't need any apps or anything to learn it if you're doing it that way.
yeah. I mean, because think of like all the kids that go on like a Mormon mission, like they're what you get a couple months of the MTC and then you're thrown in the middle of it. Like you
Yeah.
got to figure it out.
Yeah, and some kids struggled pretty hard with it, all the way like well through their mission, and some of them pick it up fast, and but it's all through talking to people every single day, all
Yeah,
day doing it. And if you look at it that way and see how fast some of them can pick up on some of these languages, it's like maybe maybe it's actually not that bad, and you just need to get out there and talk to people.
yeah,
But people don't want to like look dumb, and
yeah. The same in all things, right?
don't want to look like you don't know what you're talking about, even though you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, shoot. Yeah. Anyways, what are some of the things that you think we'll end up covering in some of these? What are some of the things that you want to be talking about in the next um
Oh,
some of the upcoming episodes.
I think you and I both have a shared interest in the like that take care of your shit series. So I'm sure that'll get its place. And teaching or at least speaking on like how to take care of it because we both work in pretty labor intensive trades, which like outside looking in, everyone describes as like we're breaking our bodies every day, but there's ways to mitigate that and take care of yourself outside of work. And we're both advocates of that ideology. So I'm sure like that sort of stuff I would like to speak on. And I'm sure, I assume that we're both on that page.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
then like you were saying, the Q&As are perfect because then like we can judge like, what everybody needs to know from either of us, whether it's more about the trade or the opportunities or the taking care of yourself or, you know, what we're seeing out there and things like that.
Yeah. I think we're in different enough aspects too, because we're primarily residential stuff and your guys are mainly commercial. So
Mhm.
kind of get two different aspects of two different trades. And I think we'll we'd be able to add quite a bit of value that way. I so
Yeah.
basically like what I'm getting at, everybody listening, is we're gonna be talking about trades and going forward and getting young people into the trades, but also kind of helping to change this idea that the trades break down your body pretty much. And because they don't. And I think people in desk jobs or that sit down all day break down their body just as much and complain about it just as much. And somehow it's not their job that does it. Um, somehow it's their age in that scenario and not their age in when you're 50 working in construction and you say, oh man, I ache. And oh yeah, it's because you've been doing construction for forever instead of just maybe you haven't
Yeah.
taken care of yourself
Yeah.
or you're getting old.
Yeah.
Either way. So kind of kind of shed some light on some of that stuff and maybe we can make an impact,
Yeah, for
make a
sure.
difference.
Maybe when I come down, I'll have to get a session at your that home gym you got.
Dude, it's pretty sweet. I like having space now.
Yeah, I bet.
Home gyms are the best. I was
Yeah.
actually talking to a guy I used to see at the gym a lot who does concrete as well, and he's actually 50. Now that
Mm.
I'm thinking about it. I used to see him at the gym all the time. Anyways, I was telling him I kind of missed it, and he's like, "Oh, dude, it's a shit show there." So, and I'm like, "Well, maybe I don't miss going there because I don't miss waiting all day to get on a machine or, you know, because there's people just hanging out on them and on their phones and stuff." So,
Well, it's that time of year where it'll turn into resolutions and you
uh,
don't have to worry about that at home.
which is a great thing that people are trying to do it, but yeah, they just end up taking up space and falling off.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Which is like in the grand scheme of things, that's who pays for your membership at the gym to be so cheap. But like, I don't know. You'd wonder, yeah, it's crowded there, and then the summer comes around, it's gone again, and so on and so forth.
yeah.
Yeah, that would be nice. The home gym would be a nice. Like I said, I'm jealous of that feature.
Oh, dude, it's awesome. It's great. Well, awesome. Yeah, this we are excited to be um, partnering up on this. I think we can add a lot of value. You got anything else to close with, Jesse?
No, dude, I agree with you, and yeah, appreciate you bringing me along. It should be
Yeah,
fun. Hopefully,
yeah.
like we can bring some value and whether it's entertainment or education.
No, for sure. Sweet. Well,
Heck yeah.
yeah, awesome. We will see you guys on the next one, and maybe it will be a Q&A. Yeah.
I'm down.
Thanks, Jesse.
Thank you,
See you
dude.
later. Yep.